Hey everybody, welcome back to Backyards for Birds. This channel and website is all about enhancing your backyard for birds, bees, butterflies, and a few other creatures. So today what we're going to work on is this little strip of ground between the sidewalk and the house. The plan is I'm going to plant some wildflowers and some goldenrod in here. I've never had much luck growing vegetables in this little section, so I've given up on putting vegetables in here. So I'm going to put some wildflowers and goldenrod in here, which I've had really good luck with the wildflowers that I'm using in other parts of the yard. And I was able to get some goldenrod seeds, and I'm going to put them in here and see if I can get them to grow. They're a good pollinator late season. And the wildflowers that I use, they have what's called bachelor buttons. Some people I think call them cornflowers. They actually produce seeds that attract goldfinches. We've had lesser goldfinches feed on the seeds in my brother's yard, so in the wildflower mixes that I have always have a lot of bachelor buttons in them. So what I'm going to do is plant some goldenrod and some of this mixture of wildflowers with the bachelor buttons in here, and hopefully it will attract some of the birds, but it'll probably attract some of the bees in here and maybe a few butterflies that we get around. So this little section between the house and the sidewalk will hopefully be a little bit of a garden there. So the first step, what I'm going to do is down at the end, I've got what is a little bit of a compost pile that I'm going to take and spread out over this section of ground, and then I'm going to turn it over and kind of rake it in, level it out, and then I'll come back and spread the seeds and just rake the seeds in, and then we'll be ready for them to grow this year. So that's what we're going to work on, and what I'm going to do is start working on just kind of cut in between each section, so you don't have to watch me do all the digging and spreading. So we will kind of come back on each little part and show you what we're doing on each section. So let's get started. All right, now that I've got the compost spread, I'm going to start digging and turning it over so I can get that compost down in the soil and hopefully keep breaking down and kind of feed the plants. So let's start digging and get to the next step. All right, we have just got done turning it over, and it actually took a little bit longer than I thought. I've got 4 sections here, and 3 out of the 4 sections I've been working before in previous years, so the dirt was pretty loose and easy to turn over. But that last section down at the end, I just realized I've never turned that part over, and it's been that way for 20 years or more, and it was hard as a rock, so it took me a little longer to get it turned over. But I got it all turned over. Now we're going to take a rake and smooth it out and kind of rake it down and get off the excess dirt so everything's level with the sidewalk. And then after that, we'll come back, plant the seeds, and then rake the seeds in so the sparrows don't get them, and then we'll be done. All right, we have finished raking everything down. As you can probably see from part of the sidewalk there, we pulled out a lot of dirt. That's what happens when you add a lot of compost. I've done compost in this section for the last couple of years, and I've had a lot of increased dirt in this area, so I usually have to pull out some, and I probably got a couple wheelbarrow fulls that I've had to pull out. But that's okay, we've got plenty of places to use it. So now what we're going to do is lay down some seeds. These first section, I'm going to lay down some goldenrod, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down some pollinator seeds in the last section. I decided I'm going to put the goldenrod down at the end. But I'm going to show you what I've been using. See if the camera will focus on this. I get these from the dollar store. This is just a $1 box pollinator blend. They have another one that has a little bit of different varieties, and they call it a bird and butterfly blend. And this last one, it's kind of a hummingbird blend. They have a little bit different varieties of flowers in them, but there are some similarities between them all. I've never read all the different types of flowers in here, see what's different and what's similar, but they all are fairly similar, so it doesn't matter really what I use. They all have the things, the ones that I want in there, which is a lot of the bachelor buttons. But so what I'm going to do is I've got some milkweed seeds I'm going to mix in with these when I put them out, with both these and the goldenrods. Now I get a lot of milkweed growing wild in my yard, but I've never had any luck getting them to germinate from seed. But I'm still going to keep trying because I want to get the milkweed growing in areas where they're a little bit more beneficial for me. All the wild ones I've got on my property here grow wild, and they're not in the best place. Sometimes they're on the edge of the property and they get sprayed when the farmers sprayed their fields. So I've lost a lot of milkweed on the outside edges where they just grow on their own. So I'm trying to get them to grow more in the interior part, especially here in the backyard. So I'm going to try and plant some mix some milkweed seeds in to grow in intermixed with these wildflowers and goldenrod, and we'll see how well it works. They may not germinate, but I get tons of milkweed seeds every year from my yard and the surrounding areas, so I never have any shortage of them. So we're going to try put some milkweed seeds here, and then when we plant some other stuff later on, we are going to put some with some of the other stuff. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to mix them in and spread them on the dirt there, and then just rake them in. So this first section, we are going to use one of these wildflower blends and just kind of spread it, just kind of pour it on and rake it in and go from there. So each one of these boxes will do about 10 feet by 10 feet, so I've actually got a lot more seeds than I need, but a lot of them won't germinate the first year because they're like an early germinator, so they won't come back until the early next spring. So you won't get them all to germinate the first year. So I always like to overplant anyway, because some of them germinate early, some of them germinate later in the summer, so they don't all come up at the same time. So I always just put a lot of extra in there just in case. I can make sure I get a good coverage. So all right, well, we're going to start planting now. So this is a second garden snake I found today. It's still cold. It's only upper 40s right now, but they were hiding in my compost pile. And he's a little aggressive. He's just a little garden snake. And I've never seen a garden snake strike like this so much. I'm 5 or 6 feet away. And he's really agitated that I'm standing here. This is kind of interesting because I get garden snakes in my yard all the time, and I've never seen one strike in the summertime. They're really kind of docile from what I've seen. This is really the first one I've seen do this, so I'm not sure why, but I think it might have something to do with the cold. Maybe he feels threatened and he is just trying to defend himself when he knows he's a little more vulnerable, because he is moving quite a bit slower than they normally do. So I assume it has something to do with that. But anyway, we're going to let this guy go on his way and get back to planting. All right, we are done spreading seeds. Had another little guest visitor along the way. I had the second garden snake pop up in the dirt while I was spreading seeds down, and he was pretty aggressive too, so we let him go on his way. I may put that little section here in the video just to show you. Got lots of them garden snakes around here, and never seen them strike like that before, except today when it's been really cold. So kind of interesting. But anyway, I've got all the seeds down. I've mixed in a lot of milkweed. Now the reason I did that is last year I was up at a lady's house picking up some seeds and some seedlings, and she had a lot of milkweed mixed in with some pollinator plants, some Russian sage, and it was just like in one big group, and it actually made a lot of sense to mix pollinator plants and milkweed host plants for monarch butterflies. So that's kind of what I did here. I'm going to do that with the Russian sage as well, because it looked really good with her, and I think it works really well. So I've got plenty of milkweed to use, so I'm going to plant some milkweed seeds with some of the other stuff I'm doing. I've got some Russian sage roots planted around, so I'm going to put some milkweed seeds around those, see if I can kind of get that same effect. So just a good idea, I think, to plant some pollinators plants right next to your host plants. And the main butterfly I target here, well, the two of them that I target here, which are the most common, are I get monarchs in my yard quite a lot each year, largely because of these trees. This is kind of a breeding area for them. And I do get swallowtails in here. Those are the two butterflies I'm hoping to attract and hopefully to benefit the most. I get a lot of smaller ones, painted ladies, all the way down to, I think I've seen some pygmy blues here, and a lot of little everything. I get painted ladies, California tortoiseshells. I saw a Milbert tortoiseshell just a couple days ago when it warmed up to 70. So I get a little bit of everything, but the main two butterflies that are on my top of my list right now to work on are monarchs and swallowtails. So that's kind of what I'm working on so far. So anyway, we're going to rake this in. I'm going to leave the piles of dirt on the sidewalk and clean all that up on another day, because I've been at this for quite a while and I've still got a lot of other chores to do on the place here today before it gets dark. So I'm going to rake this in real good, and hopefully the sparrows will leave the seeds alone. That's my biggest problem here, is I got just hundreds and hundreds of sparrows that live in my yard because of these trees. And last year they cleaned out a lot of my seeds in my sunflower garden. So I'm going to hopefully rake these in a little bit better this year so little sparrows can't get to them. So anyway, this is the last bit, so we will rake these in. And if you like this video, feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and go visit our blog, backyardsforbirds.com. We're just starting it, so there's only a few articles right now, but every so often we're going to keep adding articles and adding videos to this. So if this is what you're interested in, give us a follow on the YouTube channel here, and you can actually sign up for blog notifications on our website as well. So all right, we will talk to you later.